Here we go. He tips his head towards the quiet corner of the ballroom and then sets his hand on my elbow as we walk. My elbow is turned on. What kind of sex sorcery is this? Imagine a man who is so hot that just him like touching your weenus gets you hot and heavy. This man is such a gentleman, okay? He asked our girl out for some drinks and he's sitting at the bar. He got there early because he's like, a woman should never be waiting on a man, obviously. And he says, it's 10 minutes till 7, but I don't screw around on my phone. It's a special moment to witness a woman arriving for a date with you. Men, take notes. So this is an ex-boyfriend's dad, so the age gap is bound to be pretty heavy, but they're finishing up their drinks. They're both kind of only after a one-night stand at this point, but before they like go on to their next activity, he's like, just so I know, how old are you? And she pauses for a second to think like, should I lie? Should I say I'm a little bit older just to like make it feel more comfortable? But then she's like, no, I gotta be honest. And then right before she says it, her mom calls. And she's like, oh my gosh, like how embarrassing. Could like I seem any younger? Like what? He might as well just ask when my bedtime is. I'm like, when I'm with an adult and I see someone's mom calling across the screen, you know what I think? That's so nice that that person talks to their mother. I never think, oh, your mom's calling you? You must be so young. No, talk to your mothers. So the whole reason it wasn't going to work was because he lived in London, right? He's like, oh, she lives in New York. It's not going to happen. But he is relocating to New York where he lives and he was going to like surprise her, right? And he has a scheduled lunch date with his son. Now, this is not the kind of ex-boyfriend's dad where the ex-boyfriend is like a total ass. This is like they broke up a while ago. They only dated for a few months and now they're like really good friends. So I'm like, why can't you be together? Like if that's the forbidden part, the fact that you dated his son, you didn't even know him when you dated his son. You only dated for a few, like it wasn't even that serious. So they run into each other at this diner because she's having lunch with her friend, the ex-boyfriend, and the ex-boyfriend invited his dad, who just moved back to the city, to come join them for lunch. So she runs into Nick at the restaurant and is like, this is kismet, it's meant to be. Like, he wasn't supposed to come until tomorrow. He already had like a date set up with her for the next day, and he's like, oh, it's fate, I'm running into her at this restaurant a day early. And then they make the connection. He's like, this is daddy. And she's like, daddy. Okay, one thing in this that I appreciate that if you read Mr. Garcia by T.L. Swan didn't happen, is that when they make the connection, he's obviously frustrated because he's like, oh no, this is my son's ex-girlfriend, now his friend who he's told me so much about. And he didn't make the connection earlier because when they met, she went by her business name, which was Lola, versus her real name, which is Layla, right? He's kind of like a dick at first and pretends like they don't know each other. And then when the son goes to talk to his girlfriend, or his soon-to-be fiance, or maybe it's already his fiance. See, my memory's terrible. So he's frustrated, but then as soon as they get a moment alone, he like immediately apologizes. He's like, I'm sorry, I was just caught off guard. I shouldn't have talked to you that way. I shouldn't have treated you that way. We love a self-aware man who is quick to apologize when he's wrong. I don't think that the reasons for them not being together are good enough. Like, just be together. I just want you to be happy. This guy is hot in bed though. He's like a very good combination of like dirty, but also like respectful and sweet. So I'm at the part where he's telling his brother about this whole messy situation. He's like, man, I'm just like the worst dad in the world. And he's basically trying to get a feel for his brother to see what his brother thinks he should do. He's like, I should stop seeing her, right? He's like, but will you stop seeing her? He's like, I should. But he's like, what do you think I should do? He's like, I think you should just stop lying. And I think that's the main problem here. He has a good relationship with his son. His son respects him. And there's a little bit of a disconnect there because he got this girl pregnant when he was in high school. And he was like a lowly working class boy. And she was like a New York elite. And so when she got pregnant, they sent him to college. But like, raised his son for him and barely ever let him see him. We're just like, make something of yourself, marry our daughter, do the right thing. But then their marriage didn't really last. I think his son would totally understand. He's in love with a different woman. He's like not at all hung up on Layla. And I think that that's the only problem that they're having left, is that they're lying. That's what he's gonna be mad about in the end. He's gonna be like, why didn't you just tell me? So his son found out, obviously, before he had a chance to come clean, even though he was fully intending to come clean. He found out literally hours, like an hour before he was supposed to meet him to like confess his feelings for Layla. And as expected, he's not even mad that he's like dating his ex. He has no feelings for her anymore. They're really good friends. He's mad that he lied, that he feels like he's just been like the butt of a joke this whole time, rightfully so. In this book, I love the drama. I'm eating it up. This book is so good, but it is one of those stories where I don't really feel like there was anything that substantial keeping them apart, besides like the kind of taboo effect of like, there's an age gap and you used to date my son. But like, it's not like in Birthday Girl where she was living at his house with him, like with her boyfriend, and then they broke up and then they started hooking up. Like, this is like their history long past. It wasn't even that serious when they did it. Like, she was still a Virginia when she met this guy. So serves you right. Also want to say, I love the dynamic between Nick and his son in this book. It is very respectful. Like, Nick is a great guy who knows how to own his mistakes and to apologize quickly if he feels like he's wrong. And I feel like once he was done with school and he was able to actually be involved in raising his son, he taught him that. And so his son is also quick to turn around even after he's mad, and has a right to apologize for maybe ways that he didn't react correctly. I'm like, that's a real man. Also, bonus points for Nick. He can cook, like, well. We're not talking just like heating up some noodles and some like canned marinara sauce. No, he's like sea bass and like fancy shit. And I love a chef. He's not a chef, but he can cook like one. This man is so filthy rich, we're at the epilogue, that he bought her a company. He bought her a company because she developed this app where she did all of her makeup tutorials, and he has been so supportive of that since the very beginning, which, could I talk more positively about Nick? But that company was moving to LA, which means she would have to move to LA, and she just like wasn't about that. So she resigned, and because she loved it so much, he literally surprised her and is like, oh, I just bought the company from her. She was happy to sell it to me. So now you don't have to move and you can still do what you love. Layla's foundation to fund tattoos for women who have physical scars left by abuse. I love that. Okay, listen to this. I have an idea for your next how-to video. I say, an emotion welling in my chest. Her eyes widen. You do? I reach into my pocket. What if you do a video on how to do wedding makeup? I suggest as I hold out the velvet box. I would love nothing more in the entire world than to marry you. You are and always have been the absolute love of my life, and I would love if you do me the great honor of letting me be your husband. Melt. This was such a delightful read. I would give it a 4 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. It was fluffy, it was light, the stakes weren't too high, it's fast-paced, the spice was really good, and I would give it like a 3 out of 5 chili pepper. I would absolutely recommend this book. Thank you so much to Lauren Blakely and Candy Cane PR for sending it to me. It is out now on Amazon, KU, and Audible. I love it when authors launch their audiobooks at the same time as they launch the book. It's just so inclusive for people who do a lot more reading through audio. So yeah, enjoy.